Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dan Johnson. I'm from Yankton. And before I get started, I just want to acknowledge the other members of our PBA that have come to the meeting today. If you could just stand up briefly. Okay, now you can sit down. No, we were really privileged to be asked to give the update on our PBA, which is almost a year old. Our neighboring Big Brother PBA has, been doing this for 8 years. We're going to be able to give you the perspective of somebody who's only been at it for about a year. This is just kind of what I'm going to talk about. We established our PBA with this history that in the winter of 2023, a small group of landowners were interested in a prescribed fire school that we saw advertised. So we went to the meeting that many of the people that are here held in Yankton. We were very interested with what we learned, and so later that spring we went to Jeff Zimprich's farm and got to participate in a live fire exercise, which really cinched the deal because it was really a great experience. Not much happened the rest of that year, but then, as Tom had mentioned, they were coming around to some places and came to Yankton and talked about how do you form a PBA or what's involved with that. And because it seemed like nobody else was really stepping up to do this, we decided that most of us were retired, we had a little more time on our hands, so we would go ahead and take the initiative and get started doing this. The organization of our group was really aided by I'm sorry I have your name wrong there, Mid-Missouri River PBA. They provided a template so we could get some bylaws done. We got our officers elected. We decided to have the same fees. And then in March, we went through the steps we needed to with the state of South Dakota to incorporate as a not-for-profit, and then with the federal government to get our EIN number, which allowed us to get our 501c3 status as a not-for-profit. Our burn record in 2024 is a fairly small amount of acreage, but we learned a ton. In April, 7 people helped with a fire just to the west of Vermilion, and then later that same month we did 2 burns on adjacent pastures that were my land, and with a little bit more manpower and woman power, and a little bit more equipment, but still not a lot, just mostly what we could bring to the fire that we individually owned. And I just wanted to shout out to say how helpful it was to have Dan Melhoff within our CS in Yankton, Tom Hausman to help us with that, and then Jerry Wilson with Sierra Club in Vermilion. The impact of our PBA activity, just briefly here, I want to focus on the fact that if you've never seen the results of a prescribed fire, it's truly amazing. And the fact that I live on this land, I was initially very happy with the many hundreds of dead cedar trees, as you can see the little orange things there. But as the summer progressed, I have never had the types of native grasses that were present, as well as the proliferation of forbs that developed. And surprisingly, I had never seen this plant on my land before, the whorled milkweed, which, as you know, as a milkweed is excellent habitat for the monarch, which also has just recently been designated as a threatened species. So I think there's a place for prescribed fire to fit into the efforts that'll go into addressing the really plummeting monarch butterfly population. The results of the prescribed fire on my property was so impressive that Rod Voss with NRCS did a fire effects pasture tour in September. Leading up to that, we were interviewed on the radio, WNAX, one of the stations, to really talk about not only the event we were holding, but also talking about the importance and the place of prescribed fire in management of our grasslands. And we had excellent press coverage with the press in Dakota attending the event, and we had about 25 people that came to listen to Rod and many of the other folks that are here, including Pete, about our fire and prescribed fire in general. The final impact of our group is that our membership has now grown to 17 paid members, and we have a contact list from different events that include several dozen people that are very interested in what we're doing, possible future members that are very interested in prescribed fire. We certainly see in our neck of the woods an increasing interest in prescribed fire. Our partnerships that we have developed over this past year, National Wild Turkey Federation gave us a $6,000 grant, Sierra Club South Dakota chapter $5,000 grant. We have got some used Nomex jumpsuits from the Menno VFD. South Dakota Grasslands Coalition, specifically Laura Collar, put me in touch with the Turkey Federation folks. So again, thank you for that connection. The other members of the Grasslands Coalition have been more than helpful with education, expertise, and advice. Mid-Missouri Valley is like our, like I say, our big brother organization to the west, and Tom Hausman's been extremely helpful helping us. Brad Christensen's kind of my go-to equipment guy if I have questions. We were really excited that Cody Gruing with Audubon joined us because it gives us street cred, if you will. I mean, he knows really what's going on when the rest of us are just learning. And then USD NRCS has been great for support, advice, and making good maps for us. Brad Christensen told us that he had a skid-mounted tank sprayer that he had made from component parts. We were about to buy one for about $5,000 with our grant money. He sold it a better unit for a lot cheaper, and so we're excited that we have a good piece of equipment for 2025. Funding needs for our organization, we need more equipment to really be able to do good burns in a safe and efficient fashion. We realize there's other funding demands that we're going to have, including advertising, social media, insuring equipment, trailer licenses and fees, and the rest of the list. They're just incidental things. What we would really like is this next list of things. We would love one of these to put our tank pump unit into for $19,000. This would be nice. And then we'd put this on top of it. We'd like to get a burn trailer, has been mentioned many times today, for about that cost. A smaller trailer would be nice too to haul ATV around. Nurse tanks would be nice if we had more remote burns, and that would be about the price tag for that. Communications is really important. We learned that it's kind of hard to shout across the field and try to get everybody to do what you want them to do. That would be the price for 10 radios and a 10-year license with FCC. Miscellaneous equipment in the list, we've talked about many of these types of items and tools. That price tag would be around a little over $9,000 with a grand total of a little over $70,000. Our training needs, we have enough interest down in the Yankton area and the surrounding counties that we really would like to do another classroom instruction in Yankton this winter. An alternative site that I'm sure I'll go down to, and I'm sure other members will. They're going to do a fire school down in O'Neill, Nebraska, that's being hosted by Nebraska Pheasants Forever, Quails Forever. And then we hope that with some of the fires that we already have scheduled for 2025, that maybe these private lands can be part of the field training, just like Jeff Simprich allowed us to learn from his land. And then we just need to have a mechanism for ongoing education for our organization, be it online and other classrooms. Our future projects, some of us are going to go present a grant proposal to the James River Water Development District on January 9th. We've already presented to them one time to talk to them about the importance of prescribed fire in the management of the James River watershed in terms of helping claw back some of that productivity for the producers, but also improving water quality, decreasing erosion, increasing water absorption in the ground table. So they were very receptive to our presentation. We'll go formally in January to ask for money. We have 3 burns already scheduled, 10 more acres over by Vermilion, about 125 acres of CRP near Menno, and then a big burn near Olivet. So future challenges, we do, the 501c3 going after grant world is foreign to me. I've never had to deal with that. We're learning administration of all of this. How do you cash flow through a 501c3? How do you get donations? Do you ask like dollars per acre? Just figuring out how the thing cash flows is a little challenging. The ongoing maintenance of equipment, training, how formally to partner with volunteer fire departments. And then I think almost very importantly is what's the succession plan? How do we literally pass the torch to the next generation? This shows the territory that we've designated. There were Bon Homme, Yankton, Clay County, and Hutchinson and Turner south of Highway 18. That's sort of a soft boundary on the north side. Thank you very much.